cargo vessel Aurora's Edge moved silently through the uncharted system. Its engines hummed softly. The crew relaxed after weeks of routine travel. Captain Rourke sat in the command chair, sipping lukewarm coffee, while Engineer Leanne monitored the navigation console. The ship's AI scribe spoke occasionally, its voice calm and polite, guiding them past drifting asteroids and clouds of dust. It was supposed to be an uneventful, run-simple cargo delivery. No trouble. Then the first blip appeared on the radar. Leanne frowned and leaned closer to her console. Captain, got a contact at extreme range.
Rourke didn't move it.
First, one ship? No, Leon whispered. Multiple. And they're closing fast. Scribe's voice came next, sharper than usual. Captain, I am detecting 47 distinct warp signatures. They are forming a spherical pattern around our position. Rourke set his coffee aside and straightened. A net. The radar screen bloomed with red dots, each one a warship closing in from every direction. In less than 2 minutes, every escape vector would be sealed. The Aurora's Edge was no warship. It was a freighter with minimal defensive systems. Against even one hostile ship, they would have no chance. Against 47, there was nothing they could do but talk. The comms panel crackled, and a voice came through. It was deep, mechanical, and cold. Human vessel, stay where you are. Mow down your engines. Do not attempt to run. Rourke exchanged a look with Leanne. This is Captain Rourke of the Aurora's Edge. We're a cargo ship. We have no weapons. Why are you surrounding us? The voice ignored the question. Remain where you are. Disobedience will result in immediate destruction. The channel cut, leaving only the soft hum of the ship. The crew stared at each other, silent. Leanne's hands trembled on the console. They're not even answering. Why trap us? If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already? Scribe spoke again, running scans. Their weapons are powered, but their targeting systems are not locked on us. They are not preparing to fire. Rourke stood and walked to the viewport. The alien ships were visible now, sleek, metallic shapes glinting against the dark. Their formation was perfect. Every vessel, equidistant from the next, like the bars of a cage, and beyond them. Darkness. Not empty space, but a deeper, heavier black, as if something was hiding there. The ship's sensors pinged. Scribe's voice dropped in volume, almost as if it were afraid. Captain, I'm detecting an energy spike. Location directly behind the alien fleet. It is vast, larger than any construct or vessel on record. What is it? Rourke asked. I do not know. The radar began to distort, static crawling across the display. The energy source was interfering with their instruments. The AI tried to compensate. But each attempt only made the readings stranger distances warped, shapes stretched and twisted. Then Leon froze. Captain, look. Through the viewport the darkness moved. It was slow, deliberate, and impossibly massive. At first it seemed like a shadow cast by some distant light, but then a curve appeared smooth, glistening, reflecting faint starlight. The alien ships did not move to intercept it. They stayed still, holding their formation, as though waiting. Scribes. The voice was quiet now. It is not approaching the fleet. It is approaching us. Rourke felt his heartbeat climb. Are they? Using us as bait? Leanne's lips were dry. For what? No one answered. The comms were silent. The alien ships didn't fire, didn't move, only watched. The darkness loomed larger. It was impossible to tell where it began or ended. It seemed to swallow the stars themselves. Scribe suddenly broke the silence. I have detected movement within the mass. Multiple appendages, organic composition. Estimated length of primary structure, over 300 kilometers. 300. Leanne breathed. That's not possible. The shadow kept growing, an unstoppable wall of black against the stars. And then, without warning, something shimmered in the dark, a pale, wet gleam, round and unblinking. An eye was larger than the Aurora's Edge itself, and it was looking directly at them. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. The alien ships did not react. The creature, if it was a creature, did not move. It simply stared. Rourke felt the weight of that gaze, as though something was peeling away every layer of thought, every memory, till he was bare and exposed. Then the radar went completely dead. All screens on the bridge went black. The lights dimmed, even Scribe's voice cut off mid-dash sentence. In the heavy silence, Leanne whispered, "It's not here for them. It's here for us." Scudcums crackled again. But this time, it wasn't the alien fleet. The sound came through low, resonant like a voice speaking. Underwater. Words formed in their minds, not through the ears. Human vessel. "I have found you, Rourke's." Skin prickled. This wasn't just a trap. This was a meeting. Whatever they had just met was not part of any star chart, any galactic record, or any nightmare they had ever imagined. The alien fleet stayed still. The eye in the dark did not blink. The only thing moving was the shadow, inching closer, until it filled every view, every thought, every possibility of escape. Something ancient had been waiting for this moment. And now it had them. The darkness around the Aurora's edge seemed alive. The eye held them in place without touching them, as if gravity itself had been rewritten to obey its will. Captain Rourke tried to speak, but his voice caught in his throat. Leon's hands hovered above her console, frozen. Scribes, systems flickered back online for a moment, only to show meaningless streams of symbols data that no human could understand. The voice came again, deep and layered, not through the cums but inside their minds. "I have found you, children of fire." Rourke felt the words as much as he heard them. The weight of them pressed against his chest, filling him with a strange mix of fear and something else. Recognition. The alien fleet finally moved, not toward the human ship, but away from it. Slowly, deliberately, the warships began breaking formation, slipping aside as though they feared being in the path of that gaze. Their engines flared bright, but they did not fire a single shot. "What's happening?" Lan whispered. "There." "Retreating," Rourke said, though his voice sounded unsure even to himself. Scribe's tone was unnaturally soft. "Captain, my analysis suggests they are not retreating from us. They are retreating from it." The shadow shifted. A tendril-like shape uncurled from the mass, gliding through the void with impossible grace. The movement was slow, but each second it closed the distance with terrifying certainty. Rourke's fingers tightened around the armrests of his chair. Evasive. Maneuvers now. The engines roared to life, pushing the Aurora's edge into a sharp turn. The tendril didn't speed up, didn't change course, it simply existed in the space they were trying to escape from. And somehow, it was always closer than it should have been. Leanne's voice shook. "It's not chasing us. Space around? It is folding." The creature's voice returned, carrying with it flashes of vision images that weren't theirs. Stars exploding. Metal worlds falling into black seas. Armies of ships burning. Shapes like humans but taller, wearing armor that glowed like suns. "This isn't possible," Rourke muttered, gripping his head as the visions grew sharper. The creature's voice was almost gentle now. "Your kind carries the flame. I have waited, and the time has come." The alien fleet commander's voice suddenly broke through the cums, urgent, desperate. "Human vessel. Cut engines. Do not let it take you. You have no idea what it is," Rourke almost answered. But the tendril wrapped around the ship in that moment. It wasn't solid, not metal or flesh, but a strange shimmering light that passed through the hull without resistance. The air grew cold, the lights dimmed again, and the crew felt as though they were being pulled somewhere far away from the stars. "Captain," Scribe said, its voice barely a whisper, "we are losing all connection to real space." The viewport turned black. The alien ships vanished. Only the eye remained, filling the void, bright and unblinking. Then the stars themselves bent and twisted, till there was nothing but a swirling tunnel of colors and shadows. Leanne clutched the console. "We're not in normal space anymore." The creature's voice echoed inside their minds one last time before silence fell. "Come, children of fire. See what waits for you." And with that, the Aurora's edge was pulled entirely into the shadow. The alien fleet was left behind, hanging in the cold dark, watching helplessly as the human vessel disappeared into the unknown. The Aurora's edge drifted through a place that could not be mapped. A tunnel of fractured starlight, an endless black. Space itself seemed to ripple and curl in impossible patterns, like a sea caught in a silent storm. The crew could still feel the faint pull of the tendril wrapped around the ship. Though it had no physical weight, Leanne stared out the viewport, eyes wide. This isn't hyperspace. It's not any form of transit corridor I recognize, Scribe replied, its voice stripped of its usual calm. There is no measurable point of origin. No destination. We are outside conventional. Space-time. Rourke's knuckles were white as he gripped the arms of his chair, and yet, we're still moving. They weren't moving in any direction they could name. The view outside shifted without reason. One moment they seemed to pass over the surface of a dead black planet. The next they were gliding above a colossal ocean that stretched forever, its waves frozen in place. Then came a place with no stars, only drifting shapes the size of cities, their edges glowing faintly like dying embers. The voice returned. You are far from home, children of fire, but you have been here before.
Oh.
Rourke shook his head. We've never been here. Humanity has never. The voice pushed into his mind, and suddenly he saw. It was no longer on the bridge. He stood on a battlefield beneath a burning red sky. Armored figures towered over alien soldiers there, weapons humming with light. He looked down and saw his own hands, but they were gloved in dark metal, traced with golden lines. Around him, alien armies fled in terror, their ships breaking apart in the skies above. He gasped, and the vision shattered. He was back in his chair, chest heaving. What? What was that? Leon was shaking her head violently, pressing her, palms to her temples. I saw it too. Not just one battle. Thousands. Across centuries. The same figures. The same humans. Scribe's voice was quiet. The creature is sharing its memory. Or perhaps our own. The tendril holding. The ship began to draw it toward something ahead, a massive circular opening in space, framed by jagged arcs of light. The closer they came, the more it looked alive, as if the gate were the mouth of some cosmic beast. Rourke swallowed hard. Where are you taking us? To your inheritance, the voice said. To the place where your fire was born. Alien Fleet's final transmission still rang in his ears. Do not let it take you. But he could feel the pull of something deeper than fear. There was a strange familiarity in this place, as though a part of him had always known it existed. Leon broke the silence. Captain, I don't think it's lying. I think humanity was here long ago. That's impossible, Rourke muttered, though his voice lacked conviction. The gate filled the entire viewport now. As the ship crossed its threshold, a sudden pressure crushed their chests, then vanished. The darkness was replaced by a sky of shattered constellations, where colossal fragments of planets and cities floated in slow orbits around a single, enormous structure. It was a fortress, but not like anything built in the modern galaxy. It was alive, its surface shifting in slow waves, golden light pulsing through veins in its walls. Even at this distance, its size was incomprehensible. The voice grew softer, almost reverent. This is where you were forged, where your kind commanded the flame, and now it waits for you to claim it again. Rourke's eyes stayed fixed on the fortress. Why us? Why now? There was a pause before the answer came. Because the galaxy has forgotten you, and I have not. Before anyone could respond, Scribe's systems flared with a surge of data. Captain, the structure is scanning us. No, it's scanning you specifically. The bridge lights flickered, and the ship's engines shut down without command. The Aurora's edge began to drift toward the fortress, pulled by an invisible current. Leanne's voice trembled. Captain, we're not flying this ship anymore. The creature's presence wrapped around their thoughts again, and the final words before silence were clear as fire. Come, children of fire, take what is yours. And the Aurora's edge crossed the threshold into the shadow of the ancient fortress. The Aurora's edge glided into the shadow of the fortress, swallowed by its sheer scale. The closer they came, the more detail emerged, vast towers that seemed to breathe. Surfaces rippling like liquid metal, symbols glowing faintly across its hull in patterns no one could read. Entire mountain ranges could have fit inside its openings. Some of those openings were shaped like hangar bays, others like the eyes of a predator staring into the void. Leon's voice was hushed. "It's alive." Scribe's sensors strained. To make sense of the readings, the structure is neither entirely organic nor entirely mechanical. Its mass exceeds all known megastructures. Energy output incalculable. I cannot determine a power source. Captain, this should not exist. The tendril that had held them in its grip dissolved into particles of light, fading into the fortress's surface. The ship's engines remained offline, yet they continued drifting forward, guided by a pull they couldn't resist. Rourke gripped the edge of his chair.
Yes.
If it wanted to destroy us, it would have done it already. The voice returned, softer than before, but heavy with intent. Inside lies the heart of your flame. I will show you what was taken from you. The Aurora's edge slid into a colossal chamber. Its walls curved so far upward they disappeared into darkness. Golden veins of light pulsed along the surface, leading toward a central platform that hovered in midair, supported by any visible structure. As the ship settled onto the platform, the crew felt a pressure in their skulls, as if though a second heartbeat had synced with their own. Leanne winced, clutching her head. Something's inside my mind. The golden veins flared brighter. A beam of light scanned through the hull, sweeping across each crew member. When it reached Leanne, it stopped. The light expanded, wrapping around her like a cocoon. Scribe's voice sharpened. Genetic match detected. She is. Recognized. Recognized as what? Rourke demanded. Before anyone could answer, the fortress reacted. The walls trembled, not with violence, but with the deep, resonant hum of machinery awakening after endless sleep. A low vibration ran through the deck. Dust tore, perhaps ash fell from above in a slow drift. Leanne's breathing was rapid. It's talking to me. I can hear it. What is it saying? She looked at Rourke, her eyes wide with something between awe and terror. It says, I am a descendant of the flame bearers, and it's been waiting for someone like me. For thousands of years, the golden light surged, rushing along the veins toward the far end of the chamber. Massive doors began to open with a sound like shifting mountains, revealing a void beyond. But this void was not empty. Dozens of colossal shapes floated there, each one dormant, enshrouded in shadow. They weren't ships, not entirely, but living machines, their surfaces patterned like the fortress itself. Some looked like titans, ready for war, others like winged beasts frozen in slumber. The creature's voice filled the chamber. Your kind forged these when the galaxy was young. They obey only you. Wake them, and the stars will tremble again. Rourke stared at the sleeping giants, his mind racing. Why would we need them? The answer came like a cold wind. Because the ones who imprisoned me will come for you now, and they will not stop until the last of your flame is gone. Scribe interrupted, its tone urgent. Captain, I am detecting warp signatures, multiple, hundreds. The alien fleet has found us. They are surrounding the fortress. The chamber darkened, as though the fortress itself sensed the danger. Leanne stepped forward, her hand instinctively brushing against one of the walls. The golden light followed her touch, racing outward as if responding to her heartbeat. Rourke's voice was low. They came to stop us from waking this, whatever it is. From somewhere deep within the fortress, a deep metallic roar echoed long, drawn out, and filled with power. The sleeping giants beyond the door shifted slightly, their eyes flickering with faint light. The creature's voice whispered again, this time with unmistakable hunger. Children of fire, hide, or take back what was yours. The hum of the fortress deepened, vibrating through the hull of the Aurora's edge, until it felt like the crew's bones were resonating. Outside space was alive with movement, hundreds of alien warships encircling the structure, their engines burning bright against the black. They didn't fire immediately, but their formation was tight, like a wall of steel slowly closing in. Scribes. The voice was tense. They are broadcasting on all channels. The message is simple. Stand down and leave the fortress, or be destroyed. Rourke almost laughed, but there was no humor in it. Leave? How? We don't even control our own engines. Leanne stood in the center of the chamber, the golden light from the fortress pulsing in sync with her heartbeat. She seemed different, more focused. Her voice was calm, but there was steel beneath it. They're not here to negotiate. They're afraid of what's inside this place. Afraid of what we might become. As if responding to her words, the colossal doors at the far end of the chamber fully opened. Beyond them, the sleeping giants loomed rows of massive constructs, suspended in nothingness, their armor shimmering faintly. The light in their eyes grew stronger. The creature's voice echoed through the chamber, deep and certain. The galaxy built its cages because of these, because of you. They feared what you could awaken. Now the choice is yours. Rourke's gaze stayed fixed on the alien blockade shown on the tactical display. If we bring those things online, every ship out there will fire on us without hesitation. Leanne looked at him, and for the first time since this began, there was no fear in her eyes, only resolve. If we don't, we'll never make it out alive. The deck beneath them shifted slightly as the fortress came alive. Vast conduits lit up like veins of molten gold, spreading out across the entire structure. Somewhere deep within, gears the size of cities began to turn. The air itself felt heavier. Scribe's tone sharpened. "Captain, I believe the fortress wants input, a command." Before Rourke could answer, the alien fleet made their move. Dozens of ships surged forward, weapons charging. Beams of energy lashed against the fortress's outer surface, but instead of exploding, the impacts were swallowed, absorbed into the golden veins, feeding its power. The creature's voice rumbled, with satisfaction. They do not understand. Their fire only fuels the flame. A shadow moved behind the fortress walls, the first of the giants. It stepped from its berth, its surface gleaming with golden light, its eyes burning like twin suns. Its movement was silent, but each step carried the weight of a god walking among mortals. The alien fleet scattered at the sight, breaking their perfect formation. Some ships tried to retreat, others turned their weapons on the giant. But when the first barrage hit, the giant simply raised an arm, and the energy dissolved harmlessly into the void. "Captain," Scribe said, its voice carrying an odd mix of awe and fear, "it's interfacing with our systems. It's asking for permission to act." Rourke glanced at Leanne. She nodded without hesitation. "Do it." The moment he gave the order, the giant moved with sudden speed, closing the gap to the nearest alien vessel in seconds, instead of destroying it. The giant released a pulse of light. Every system on the alien ship went dark instantly. No fire, no explosion, just silence, one by one. More giants emerged from the fortress, each moving with the same impossible precision. Alien ships fell dark across the blockade, their weapons useless, their engines dead. The battlefield was silent except for the hum of the awakened titans. The creature's voice was softer now, almost pleased, you see. Destruction is not the only form of power, but the galaxy will not see it that way. It will fear you more than ever. Rourke's stomach twisted. He knew it was right. Even without killing a single ship, they had just proved they could end fleets in minutes. Scribe reported quietly. "The remaining alien vessels are retreating." Leanne looked at the sleeping rows beyond. This was just one chamber. The creature chuckled, a sound like distant thunder. "Yes, child of fire, and there are many more." Rourke stared out into the stars, knowing that whatever came next, there would be no going back. The galaxy now knew humanity held the keys to a power that had been buried for ages, and it would never let them keep it without a fight. The silence after the battle was heavy, broken only by the faint hum of the fortress and the steady breathing of the crew. The alien fleet was gone. Those that weren't disabled had fled, vanishing into hyperspace like shadows retreating from the sun. The giants, now dozens of them, stood motionless in the void, their golden eyes dimming to a softer glow. They weren't dead. They were waiting. Rourke sat in the command chair of the Aurora's edge, staring at the tactical display that now showed only empty space. We just drove off one of the largest fleets I've ever seen without firing a single shot, he said quietly. That's going to make the galaxy very nervous. Leon still standing in the center of the golden lit. Chamber looked at him. It doesn't matter. If they come again, we'll be ready. Scribe's voice interrupted, precise as ever. Captain, I am detecting multiple encrypted transmissions leaving the system. The retreating fleet has sent a galaxy-wide alert. The message is simple. The humans have awakened the Flame Fortress. Rourke's jaw tightened. So the secret's already gone. The creature's voice slid into their thoughts, deep and deliberate. Secrets never last. Child of fire. Now they will come in greater numbers, but you are not without defense. From deep within the fortress, the golden light pulsed again. The massive chamber doors began to close, sealing the giants back into their resting places. The tendrils of light receded, and the fortress shifted slightly in space, aligning itself toward the distant stars. Scribe spoke again, but there was something strange in its tone. Captain, the fortress is sending. U.S. coordinates, Rourke frowned. Coordinates for what? Before Scribe could answer, the creature did. For others like me, the galaxy thought it buried your fire forever, but the embers remain. Across the stars, there are more fortresses. Sleeping, waiting for your call. Leanne stepped closer to the captain. If this is true, and there are more of these, we'd be unstoppable. Rourke shook his head slowly. Unstoppable is exactly what scares them. The fortress's massive engines, if they could be called, that came alive with a deep, resonating thrum. Space around them rippled, distorting like heat over stone. In the distance, a faint point of light appeared and began to grow. Scribe's readings spiked. That is not a star. It is a gate, similar to the one we entered, but larger. Creature's voice was almost eager now. Through that gate lies the second of your kind's creations. If you wish to survive what is coming, you must claim it before they do. For a long moment, Rourke said nothing. He stared out at the giants, the fortress, the dark gate beyond. Every instinct told him that this was a path from which there was no return, that every step forward would push humanity further away from the galaxy's mercy and deeper into its fear. Finally, he looked at Leanne. We go. The Aurora's edge detached from the platform, drifting out into the void beside the towering giants. As the gate swelled larger ahead of them, Rourke knew the alien fleet would be backhand next time. They wouldn't hold back their fire. The creature's voice came one last time before they crossed the threshold. Remember this, children of fire. The galaxy will try to burn you, but fire does not fear fire.
Oh.
And with that, the Aurora's edge and the flame fortress slipped into the light of the gate, vanishing into the unknown. The transition through the gate was like falling through liquid light. For a moment, there was no up or down, no sense of motion, only the endless shimmer of gold and black, swirling together as if the universe itself was breathing around them. Then, with a sudden lurch, the Aurora's edge emerged into a star. A system unlike any charted in human records. The stars here were dim and cold. Their light filtered through vast clouds of drifting debris. Broken moons floated in jagged fragments. The silence felt heavier than normal space. As though sound itself had been drained away, Scribe scanned the system, its voice quiet but taut. Captain, there is no sign of active civilizations here. However, I detect a massive structure in orbit around the innermost planet. It matches the energy signature of the Flame Fortress. Rourke leaned forward in his chair. Another one. The creature's voice rippled through their minds. The second ember, dormant for ages. Waiting for you. Leanne stared out the viewport, her eyes narrowing. If it's anything like the one we found, it won't stay dormant for long. They approached cautiously. The second fortress was different. In shape, its surface darker, its towers jagged and uneven, as if it had been damaged in some ancient battle. Chunks of armor floated nearby, and several of its massive gates hung partially open. But even in ruin, it radiated a quiet, dangerous power. Scribe interrupted their thoughts. Captain, I'm detecting movement. Multiple ships inbound. Rourke's stomach tightened. The aliens again. Negative, Scribe replied. These are not the same signatures. Smaller vessels, faster. Unidentified. Before he could respond, the creature's voice returned, low and grim. Scavengers. They come to steal the bones of your inheritance. If they reach the heart before you, the flame will be lost. Without waiting for orders, the fortress they had arrived with, towering behind the Aurora's edge, shifted position, lining itself between the scavenger fleet and the second fortress. The golden light in its veins flared, and the dormant titans within began to stir. Rourke opened a cum channel to the scavenger ships, broadcasting on every frequency. This is Captain Rourke of the human vessel Aurora's Edge. That structure is under our protection. Turn back now. The reply came fast, crackling with static and defiance. Protection? You're trespassing in unclaimed space, human? Whatever's in there belongs to whoever takes it first. More ships appeared on the scanners, dozens of them, bristling with weapons. They weren't a formal navy. Their hulls were mismatched, patched together from the wreckage of other vessels. But there were enough of them to be a problem. Leanne looked at Rourke. We can't let them touch it. The captain nodded once. Then we hold the line. The first scavenger ships broke formation and charged, weapons blazing. The flame fortress moved like a living thing, its titans surging forward with impossible speed. Instead of destroying the attackers outright, the giants disabled their ships in precise surgical strikes, just as they had done with the alien fleet. But this time, the scavengers didn't retreat. More poured in, weaving through the Titans' defenses, heading straight for the second fortress. Scribe's voice sharpened. Captain, the dormant fortress is activating on its own. The broken gates of the second fortress began to glow, faintly light seeping through cracks in its dark surface. A deep vibration rolled across space, and from its depths came a sound half mechanical, half alive, that made the crew's skin crawl. The creature spoke again, but there was urgency in its tone now. It wakes hungry. It does not know you yet. If you do not claim it first, it will see you as an enemy. Rourke gritted his teeth. Then we'd better make a good first impression. The Aurora's Edge accelerated toward the yawning gates of the second fortress, racing against scavenger ships desperate to get there first. Behind them, the Titans fought like gods in the dark, each blow lighting the battlefield with golden fire as they crossed the threshold into the fortress's shadow. Rourke knew the galaxy wasn't going to wait for humanity to decide its future. From this moment on, every power in the stars would either try to claim them or kill them, and he couldn't yet decide which would be worse.